of course, everyone has some constraints, but you can choose to become either part-time creator. If you like it, you can go on to explore full-time, like Drew Binsky. So it's the question of should you?
He wants to check off every country, right? When you're full time,
Yeah.
you're like, okay, I'm like, this is what there is. So I'm just going to go to each and every country. I'm going to do this. And it almost becomes very transactional. But here,
Yeah.
when it's part time, you can almost see that there's a lot of passion with which they're doing it. Drew, it's a job. Just look at this. This is amazing. When we look at content creation, we always look at, okay, I'm creating videos and videos are my source. No, you can literally make money, make bucks through so many things. But even with part time creators, I think where they can really play is building that sense of community. Even if they don't have too much of time, but build a strong set of people who can watch your videos, who can be that consistent 10,000 mark. And of course, if things go well and if you really enjoy the process of doing things, you can become full time. Full time has its own challenges.
What an amazing fact. Matt and Nat have 0% negative comments.
There is a question that each and every content creator, sometime or the other, faces. They have to look into the mirror, they have to ask themselves, is this worth it? Can I actually do this? Can I leave my full time job, my main source of income? Can I leave this behind and embrace content creation? Because perhaps they have been creating content on the side, but the leap from going to a part time content creator to a full time content creator might seem small, but it's huge. And we'll be discussing this in today's video of Creator Deep Dive by 1000 Faces Club. We'll be discussing this very topic. It's a very controversial one, it's a very nuanced topic. But to help us gauge this topic, we'll actually be using two creators. One is Drew Binsky, a very popular travel YouTuber, travel vlogger, and not just a vlogger anymore. I think he's a business person. And also Matt and Nat. So Drew Binsky is a full-time travel creator, but Matt and Nat, they're a couple and they're part-time. But before we speak about Matt and Nat and Drew, Shubham is also here, who's not traveling but is in one place. Shubham, how's it going?
It's going great, man. By the way, you are the more traveled one.
After what travel? I mean,
Yeah.
when I look at these videos, Shubham, when I look at their travel content, and especially Drew Binsky, by the way, folks, he has traveled each and every country on earth.
By the way, people don't even know that how many countries are there. So
Yeah,
it's a trivia
it's a
questions.
trivia question. You have to
Trivia
tell us
question like
in
tell
the
us in the
comments.
comments.
In the
Yeah.
comments, and
Don't go to Drew's YouTube channel and
yeah,
look at his about section, please.
yeah. Tell us
Yeah.
how many countries there are, because certainly it's very crazy. And Shubham, I think it's very interesting that we've chosen to answer this question about full time and part time content creation through the lens of a travel YouTuber, because travel inherently, if you think about it, is something that requires effort, right? Like it requires more than any other. Let's say, okay, I can sit in my, like Ray William Johnson,
Yeah.
he can very well pull off his job just by sitting in a room, like he's just doing commentary. And of course, we've done a video on him long back, one of the first few series that we did. But travel inherently, if you want to become a travel YouTuber, you have to spend time and money and
Yeah.
resources. So that itself is always a very interesting path. But you actually have something interesting to share about Matt and Nat, Shubham, which is that you actually spoken to them. You
Yeah.
interviewed them for Fireside Chat. What is that like?
So yeah, we spoke for about an hour, and we covered everything from the lifestyle of a
Mm,
part-time creator to the money behind it,
mm.
to the kind of schedule you have to follow,
Yeah,
and more importantly, the brand deals that you make, or like how you're growing, right, as a
absolutely,
creator.
absolutely.
So it was quite amazing to
Mm,
see, because the numbers, when we compare them with the full-time creators, numbers don't make sense.
mm.
We'll of course take a look at the numbers through a couple of tools that we use. One is
Sure.
called Social Blade,
Mm.
and another one is insightIQ.
Inside IQ. Mm.
But yeah, it's amazing, like sometimes things look so easy that we forget that there is a method behind this madness,
Yeah,
right? There is a
absolutely.
method,
There
like
is
you
a
said,
method.
like Drew Binsky is running a legit business,
Yeah,
and Matt and Nat are also running a legit business.
yeah. No, absolutely. And we will definitely go into the numbers, Shubham, in terms of what the numbers are. I wanted to also quickly share with our viewers as to what this business of Drew Binsky, by the way, who was a teacher who, after he was, of course, studied in the US, he did a tour in Prague as a foreign exchange student. And then he goes to Korea, to Seoul in South Korea, and he becomes an English teacher. And he just falls in love with Asia and just that entire,
Yeah.
foreigner in an Asian land. And then he visits, I think, about 20 countries, which is just crazy. Like in a few months, he just goes to 20 countries from there, right? And he starts a blog called The Hungry Partier, right? Which is just very, quite a raunchy title, I must say, The Hungry Partier. So clearly he loves partying across the globe. I love this part is like, but as you imagine the name Hungry Party, I was giving off a terrible impression of the person I truly am. So I rebranded myself as my name, Drewbinsky, which is how I am known on all social media channels.
Thank God for that. Yeah.
Thank God for that. So he
Yeah.
left Korea, Shubham, and then he became a full time. And I want, and the reason I'm specifying this is because we are talking about 2015. It has been a while. It has been 8 years almost since Drewbinsky has pursued the path of full time content creation.
Yeah.
Right.
And you know what? It's amazing. Like, I think Matt and Nat also started their channel in 2015 only.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yes. I think, if I remember it correctly. And you know what? At this point, we should, cover the basics, like what is a part-time creator,
Yeah.
a part-time travel creator,
Yeah.
somebody who's a day job,
Yeah.
somebody who may or may not have a remote job. They
Sure.
can also have non-remote jobs like Matt and Nat, because Matt is a musician
Right.
and Nat works with an airline. So there may be constraints. Of course, everyone has some constraints, but you can choose to become either a part-time creator. If you like it, you can go on to explore like full-time, like
Mm,
Drew Binsky.
mm.
So it's the question of should you become a full-time creator.
Yeah. 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 I think bunch of factors here which come into play, and a bunch of things that people can do. And talking about the business side of things, right, Shubham, I really want to focus on this part
Yeah,
of Drewbinsky, and I really like to share my
let's look at
screen.
some numbers. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I wanna first of all show how Drewbinsky, and we'll get to Inside IQ and Social Blade as well. I just wanna share with the audience what all he does, because I think that really help us contextualize the numbers
Yeah. Yeah.
also. Right. So let me just share my screen and show everybody Mr. Drewbinsky's insane portfolio actually of things that he does, right? So this is his website. Honestly, not a big fan of the way it's been designed and his photo.
I think
uh,
I'm sure Matt and Nat are doing a much better job
yeah.
at the website design.
Correct, correct. It's just like a bunch of things just thrown around here. But look at this. Here's where things get interesting, right? And this is where what you mentioned right at the start of the video, Shubham, which is the business aspect. That Drew's
Yeah.
not just a full time creator; he's a full time business person. Just look at this. This is amazing. When we look at content creation, we almost always look at okay, I'm creating videos and videos are my source. No, you can literally make money, make bucks through so many things. You have, along with AdSense, which I'm sure he already does, YouTube
Yeah.
AdSense. This is how he can, so watch now, buy now, join now, book now, learn now, book now, right? Like
Yeah.
these are the CTAs which are there. So you can have a course, you can buy merchandise from Drewbinsky. There are meetups as well. Sure, he might not get direct money from those meetups, but helps in community building. He has a book my you can book a trip on, look at this, Drew's built-in search engine. How many
Wow.
creators do we know who have a built-in search engine that they use on their website? So you can find the cheapest deals anywhere online. He has credit card points, and I'm sure
Yeah.
there's some affiliate links here
Affiliate
that
marketing
okay,
going on. Yeah.
affiliate marketing, that okay, if you take my card, you'll get this
Yeah.
much amount of cashback. And obviously, he does keynotes and presentations as well for speaking gigs. So again, Shubham, a big lesson for creators, right? That when you're looking at full-time content creation, and this is something that um, when I went full time into content creation and consulting, I also didn't
Yeah.
know that you can actually, there are so many avenues, right? It's
Yeah. Yeah.
not
Definitely.
just, that okay, my AdSense and my the brand money. There is actually a quite a few things that happen, and Drewbinsky just
Definitely.
shows
I
that.
mean, now you can share, Metanet's website, the
Yeah, sure.
beautiful one. You see, a reverberation there. Like most of the things that we just saw, barring the, of course, the search engine, of course, you'll you'll see most of the stuff is there. So, which also tells you that you can, put a plan in place, even if you are at 60,000 subscribers or 6 million subscribers,
Yeah.
and it And if it's well oiled, if you're consistent with it, if you are
Hmm.
choosing the right products according to your brands,
Hmm.
you can start, living, make a living out of it.
Absolutely. No, because just look at this, right? Like as you were mentioning,
Much more
uh,
personal, right? Welcome
yeah,
friends.
welcome friends, get merch, group trip, news blog, Amazon recommendations. So again, uh,
Yeah.
affiliate marketing, travel
Travel
outfits,
insurance,
our favorite
credit
travel
cards.
credit card.
Yeah.
So it's literally what you mentioned, and look at this. They're a part-time travel couple. So I think they've also branded themselves, Shubham, in a very strategic way. They've been mentioning this that they're part-time, right?
Yeah.
That it's their desire to travel, to go around and have that passion and that adventure,
And to
but
inspire as well
to
others.
inspire.
Right, because most of the people will never go full time,
Absolutely
as a traveler or as a creator. So
right.
it's better to, make the best out of what you have.
Absolutely.
Become, part time.
But I have a question for you. I have a tangential question, right? Like this is a very interesting website that they've designed, and I think it's mostly optimized more for mobile. But yeah, it's a pretty interesting way they sort of designed it, and they've told that story. But
Yeah.
my question to you, and perhaps this can be helpful to creators as well, is: do you think that when you become a full time content creator, right, not just travel, do you think you sort of start hating the thing that you started doing when you were part time? Now it becomes your job, right? And sure, they also earn money from part time as well. They have a day job as well.
Yeah.
But do you think that's a balancing act? Like this entire thing.
Net said, something very interesting
Yeah.
in the fireside chat. She said that, when they're not doing the branded content,
Okay.
let's say out of 5 videos, one is not branded, the slot is free, let's say, it's kind of liberating for them. There's no, added pressure of delivering a video like 2 days or 3 days before,
Yeah.
to, get it approved from the
Yeah.
brand and then posting it. So I'm sure as you grow as a full-time creator,
Yeah.
of course you are putting in, there are some slots in your video where collaborations are happening. And trust me, these things take time. You have to take approvals, you have to take,
Oh
go
yeah.
through corrections, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm sure, first of all, you are converted into a job,
Yeah.
and now there is an extra, burden of making sure that you deliver on some other promises as well.
Absolutely.
So I'm sure, and I think because of this process, you become commoditized in a way that, your viewers are there for entertainment,
Yeah. Yeah.
not to become like you.
Hmm.
Like Met and Net are essentially taking people along with them. That's why they're saying hello friends on their
Yeah.
website.
Yeah. Yeah.
Drew Binsky cannot say that.
Cannot
He
say
knows
that.
that I'm a celebrity now,
Yeah, very
right?
true. Again, the positioning and the way it's all done, Rubinsky, and of course, you know, we have to address the fact that Rubinsky has faced a lot of criticism as well in terms of
Oh yeah,
when you
that's really
become a
interesting.
full-time creator, right? Like, I was reading a Reddit post actually which says that it's like almost like he wants to check off every country, right? When you're full time, you're
Yeah,
like, okay, I'm like, this is what there is, so I'm just going to go to each and every country, I'm going to do this, and it almost becomes very transactional. But here,
yeah,
when it's part time, you can almost see that there's a lot of passion with which they're doing it. Drew is like, it's a job for him, so he's like, oh wow, I'm in Tanzania today, okay, I'm in Indonesia today, okay, I'm doing this. So I think that depth is missing from them, which is not to say that every full time creator. And again, when I think of full time creators, have to speak about Ball and Bankrupt, one of my favorite YouTube creators, one of my favorite CDDs that
yeah,
that we also did on him, which was so interesting as a character. But Drew, I don't think is there yet in terms of my liking. But Matt and I, on the other hand, uh,
yeah.
I love the tone of the videos as well. Whatever I saw, more welcoming.
Yeah, yeah, and you know what? We are talking about these tools that we're going to use.
Yeah,
So Insight IQ is giving some really good data points
yeah.
here.
Let's go for it. Let's go
Yeah,
for
let's
it.
let's look at MetaNet's, demographic, uh, audience demographic.
Sure. Let me open up Matt and
So
Nat.
you'll see. I mean, when you go cross cultural, right, in your travels, you'll have audience from, of course, if you visit 197 countries. So that's the answer to the question we asked earlier. How many countries are there in the world? So what happens is,
Yeah.
you're bound to get, criticism, just
Right.
like you mentioned.
Correct.
You're bound to get negative comments,
Absolutely.
right? So when we look at, the demography and the number of negative comments
Yeah.
for, both of them,
Hmm.
for Matanet and Rubinsky.
Hmm.
So if you look at the comments analysis, down there. Yeah. So what an amazing fact. Matt and Nat have 0% negative comments.
Yep.
I
0%.
mean, it's just amazing
Hmm.
for our, for creators who have like more than 60,000 subscribers. They're getting no negative comments.
That's insane.
And if you scroll down, you'll see, majority of their audience is based out of US and UK
Hmm.
and Canada, of course. I mean, the West, almost 87%,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So you're not going cross culturally,
You're not. Yeah.
right?
And
But on
and
the,
and
yeah,
also, Shubham, I think they're not going cross culturally. Interestingly, and why this is helpful in this topic about part time creators is because they perhaps can't, right? Like you told me in the pre chat that they can't afford to go too many places outside the US because they have
they
a day
don't have
job.
time. Yeah, they
They
don't have
don't
time.
have time. So they are
Correct.
bound by the fact that we are seeing these numbers is also very
Yeah,
interesting because they're like, yeah, I can't have too much of a big audience in Philippines because I perhaps won't go there for like a month.
yeah,
Right?
yeah, true.
So I think that's also very
That's
interesting.
also there. And if you look at the comments analysis again,
Hmm.
you see the purchase intent.
Hmm.
It's at almost like 5%,
Yep.
right?
Yep. Yep. Yep.
But when we're going to compare this number to Drew's number, it's almost at 10%.
Hmm.
Like we can now I think take a look at Drew Binsky's profile here.
Let's do that.
Such amazing insights here. I mean, 81% is the percentage for Matt and Net in terms of USA based audience, and for Drew it's only 21%. If you scroll down, you'll see it's only
Yeah.
21.
Only 21. That's insane. That's the
It's
the and look at India, 12.3%. Again,
yeah, Philippines, India, Pakistan. So like a lot of countries are watching him, of course, no doubt about it. But therefore he's getting a lot of negative comments.
yeah. Yeah.
He's getting almost 28% negative comments. That's a lot.
28% negative comments. So he's almost, you can say, Shubham, in my opinion, that he's spread himself too thin. Like he's going to all of these
Yeah.
countries. He's almost pissing people off because he's like, oh, you can't just go here and tell me, okay, this is what's bad with your country. Just go. There's not much care with which I think he's creating content anymore, right? It's become a bit
Yes.
of a machinery.
Yeah. But surprisingly, the intent to buy is almost double at 9.2%. So
Yep.
what does it tell you? Like, I think it's something about volume. When
Hmm.
people say like a creator has, more number of subscribers, that somehow trust them more. I may
Hmm.
be wrong here
Hmm.
because it's almost double.
It
And
is true.
if you look at the number of subscribers, like Drew has almost 64 times, number of subscribers
Yeah.
of
Yep.
Adventures of Matt and Ned. But the ads revenue that he's earning is only six times.
Right. Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's average around 14,000 USD per month. And for Matt and Ned, it's somewhere around 2.5K. So
Yeah,
amazing insight.
which is just very interesting and goes to show that the way these creators are and this is where tools like an inside IQ, like a social bid, help us because we only look at them through their subscriber counts, through their viewership, through even the comments, but what goes on behind that, right? Like what are some of the things that they're actually trying to sell, or where do they actually make the money? I think that's been very, very interesting to me, right? And even in the case of Matt and Nat, Shubham, like I remember you were telling me that they also have interesting sources of income. What is that for them? Because for Drewbinsky, I'm pretty sure it's that they have a course
Yeah.
which people, which I'm sure people would want to sort of go for, especially if they want to become a creator like him who's been
Yeah.
to. And this becomes a very nice branding tactic, right? Okay, I've been to all the countries in the world, so obviously I know a thing or two about travel,
Yeah.
right? Like it
True.
becomes a which Matt and Nat, if you think about it, can perhaps never say. Like they won't
Yeah.
ever
I
be able
mean,
to
of course.
position itself. Yeah,
So what Matt and Ned did earlier on was they traveled across all the 50
50
states of
states.
United States. So they have built such a, let's say strong number of true fans that there are zero negative comments, just like as we showed to our audience. And also surprisingly they're following a very similar kind of model
Hmm.
to Drew Binsky. So Matt told me that they're making somewhere around 5 to 7K a month,
Okay.
uh, out of which almost 40 to 50% comes from ads revenue,
Hmm.
25 to 35% comes from brand deals.
Hmm.
And there is a very interesting method to calculate how much to pay. I'll just tell you. 8 to 10% is coming from their Patreon, and 10 to 12% is coming from their affiliate
Hmm.
affiliate marketing. So they're also, spread across multiple revenue streams. They are hammering on them constantly. They are growing, so the numbers are also growing on each
Yeah,
front.
yeah, yeah,
And I'm sure, like, with time, they're also going to, launch things like courses,
mm,
which is like Drew's doing, right?
yeah, yeah.
So that's also something. So I mean, it's a lesson for any creator, small, nano, mega creator. If you have a model in place,
Mm.
business model in place, you can start seeing the results very
Yeah,
early on.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And also kudos to their employers as well. Of course, Matt, you can say self-employed with a band, but in terms of Nat, she's working in the airline business. Now, more and more creators, and this is what I've sort of done, whatever research I've done, whatever people I've spoken to, is that more and more people are okay with the fact that their employees are creators, right?
Yeah,
Part-time creators, right? Because
true.
think about it, if I was the airline here and I would have told Nat that, hey, you know what, sorry, you can't, Nat, you can't be this creator. You
Yeah,
can't do this YouTube thing. It's a conflict of interest.
yeah,
They're not doing that because think about it, think of it from a brand's perspective, that these it can actually help their brand
yeah. It's a
because they are
symbiotic relationship.
it's a
Correct.
symbiotic relationship.
Yeah,
They can literally become your brand ambassador. Your own employees can become your brand ambassadors, right? There was an article I was reading the other day, and I'll sort of link it in the show notes as well, about how influencers are now becoming creative directors, right? Like brands are
yeah,
getting these influencers, and influencers are not just distributing the product, but they're also helping shape, what the visuals can be, what the tone can be, what the campaign can look like. So similarly, for even for organizations, right, for part-time creators, I think it's okay even if you can't go full time with it, but if your company is supportive enough, I
yeah.
think you should really take advantage of that, or like really play that on the front foot and say that, you know what, my company is actually with me on my creator journey,
Definitely.
and y'all can actually work together on this.
Right, because you've worked in a field for many years. You know the nitty gritties of that field, so
Yeah,
you're essentially bringing them out, applying to your creative creator business, and you're again rounding it up by uh, let's say taking more people via a particular airline, right?
correct, correct,
I mean,
correct,
it's not
exactly.
directly, of course, but you are essentially talking about travel only. So people are
Absolutely.
going to travel more. Airlines are going to benefit from it,
Benefit
and
from it. Yeah.
yeah. And I was talking about this, how to calculate, how much to charge for a brand, for a brand deal. So Matt told me about this, wonderful formula. Like, the agencies will look at your last 15 pieces of content. They'll remove the top three. They'll remove the bottom three in terms of performance, and they'll just take an average out of the
Ah.
the content that has done in the middle, and based on that number, the deal is going to be signed. Whether you are getting at
Oh.
least 10,000 views per video, I think that's the number where they start entertaining you.
Hmm.
But the average comes from the videos that are performing, in the middle, not the
Ah.
top ones that can go viral, or the bottom three ones that
Interesting.
sometimes bomb. So don't worry about getting, going viral, or if some couple of videos go, bomb, they bomb.
Yeah.
So for everyone, the content can bomb, right?
Yeah, yeah,
We can
absolutely.
see the ups and downs, number of views, and
We
like,
can.
it's about consistency at the end of
Yeah.
the day. If you want to make a business out of your creator career, be consistent.
Be consistent. Yeah, it's like one of the most golden rules of being a creator. And sometimes, of course, this is and this is something, when we speak about frequency of upload, a full-time creator can enjoy much more frequency because they have that much amount of time to spare, right?
Yeah,
But even with part-time creators, I think where they can really play is building that sense of community, right? Even if they
yeah,
don't
yeah,
have too much of time, but build a strong set of people that who can watch your videos, who can be that consistent
yeah,
10,000 mark, right? I think that becomes so important for part-time creators
exactly.
as well.
And in this case, when where we are comparing adventures of Matt and Nat with Drew Binsky, Drew uploads a video, let's say somewhere in 10 to 15 days,
Hmm.
whilst Matt and Nat are producing one video a week. So
Hmm.
even they are part-time creators, they're producing more content
Correct, correct, correct,
for the
which
sake of
is
being consistent. Of
for
course,
the
you
sake
have
of
to
being
be consistent.
consistent.
Yeah,
Exactly. Of course, it'll be very interesting to see, Shubham, if Matt and Nat become full-time creators
oh yeah,
eventually, right? Like that'll be a interesting part. But the whole point is, and the whole point of this video itself is that you should totally embrace part-time creation as well. Like part-time, it shouldn't be a deterrent in your creator journey, right?
Right.
Like it shouldn't be like, okay, you know what, it's either full-time or nothing. No, there is a gray area. In fact, your brand will love it. Like if you're working for a hospitality brand, if you have a food channel,
Yeah. True.
think about it, right? Like you're working for a restaurant chain and you have a food channel. I think it can work wonders. There is some symbiosis. There's something to be explored here.
Yep.
So I think more and more part-time creators, should find that product market fit, that content market fit. And of course, if things go well, and if you really enjoy the process of doing things, you can become full-time. Full-time has its own challenges, has its own way of going about things. It is, of course, the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. Right, and I've sort of become a full-time creator for about 8 months now, so I've seen all of those things in my journey. But I would say it starts with part-time, right? Like because the part-time thing was what even I did for like close to 5 years, and
Yeah.
then that's when I took the plunge. So before you take the plunge towards, before you dive into the pool completely, you need to test your feet in the water,
Yeah.
right? So I
Yeah.
think that's
True.
why part-time creation is important. And as we saw today in the case of Drew and Matt and Nat, the adventures of Matt and Nat and Rubinsky, a business can be made out of both.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
So that's
Just a matter of time and
just a
patience.
matter of time and patience. So
Yeah.
that's about all from our episode on Drewbinsky and Matt and Nat. This was an episode of Creator Deep Dive. But see, Creator Deep Dive isn't the only thing that we do here on Thousand Faces Club. The mission for Thousand Faces Club is to support you in your creator journey and to make sure that it's less lonely, because sometimes it can get lonely if you're part time or full time. So that's why Thousand Faces Club exists. But for us to exist and for us to keep uploading videos, it'll be great if you can hit that subscribe button, which is a beautiful red or white color subscribe button that's down our video. Subscribe to that, because once you do that, you'll keep knowing when we upload our videos, which is a week. In a week, we upload a bunch of videos, a fireside chat, ask the expert. We have creator deep dive, bunch of things so that you can get better at your creator journey. What are your thoughts about Drew or Matt and Nat? Have you seen their videos? What do you think about them? Do you think they can improve? Do you think Matt
Yeah.
and Nat should go full time? Let us know in the comments
In the
below.
comments.
That's been it from this episode of Deep Dive. I'm Shreevar.
I'm Shubham.
We'll see you next week. Bye bye.